All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of DevMar Dots, where we interview experts in the DevRel and the developer marketing space, and we get to learn from their experience, and they get to share tips on how we can grow as people that is just getting started in this field. So today we are going to be talking about developer storytelling and evangelism through video. And here with us is is Kevin Blanco. I would invite him to the stage and he can introduce himself. Hi, Kevin. Hello. Okay, it seems that he's having a little network issue. So just give let's give him some minutes while he gets back. All right. While we wait for him to come back, a little about Beacamp. So Beacamp is a hub or it's a platform where you get to learn more about DevRel, DevMar, community management, and technical writing if you plan to have a career in this non-tech field. So we provide resources, courses, live classes, and podcast episode like this on how you can grow as someone that is just getting started. So you can learn more about us on beacamp.com. So you can learn more about us on beacamp.com. Right, so Kevin said he should be back in 2 minutes, and please let's just be patient while he sorts out his connection issues. Also, if there's anyone that you would love us to invite for the next episode, I know that we are very young. You can let us know in the comments, and we'll see how we can make that collaboration work. Awesome. So he's back. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, so sorry about that. At the moment that we were starting, I had a power outage here at home, and actually still don't have power. So I'm just using my phone as internet router. So if there's any connection issues, just let me know. And I'm using my. So that's the good thing about having lights that are not powered by by power, it's just battery. But yeah, sorry about that, and excited to be here.
That's fine. Please introduce yourself for people
Yeah,
that don't
sure.
know you.
So my name is Kevin Blanco. I'm a senior developer relations advocate at AppSmith, which is a product for building enterprise applications without writing code or writing minimum code and connects to multiple platforms. And what I do in my day-to-day is pretty much connecting to developers, understanding their needs, giving them the tools to growth within the product, and that's basically the role of a developer relations advocate. Just making sure that our developers understand their products, they are helped throughout the journey from discovery to being a power user. And I do that throughout video. Basically, all of the background that I have in video production, in storytelling, and filmmaking, I've been applying to DevRel, and I've seen the transformative benefits of using video to tell a story. And that's what I do on my day-to-day, basically.
Oh, that's so awesome. So, can you share your story with us? How did you get started in DevRel? What were some roadblocks you faced, and what are your favorite moments?
Yeah, sure. So Um, I have a journey as a software developer for more than 14 years. I started as a junior developer working in an agency, just building at that moment pages with jQuery. That was the famous framework or library at that moment. We all use jQuery probably at the beginning. It's just HTML, CSS, and jQuery landing pages. That's what I used to do in that agency. That was my first job. And we also use Drupal. Drupal is an open source content management system. And at that first job that I landed after I finished my computer science studies, I remember that my boss told me, we use Drupal, which is open source. It's built on page PHP, and we like to contribute back to the product. So when he interviewed me, that was my first job. I was very young. He told me, we would like the person we hire to also contribute back to the product. It's not mandatory if we hire you, but we would like you to be part of our team and to also contribute back to Drupal. So I never joined a community or anything, so I was interested about it. So I said yes, obviously. I wanted to have my first job. I needed money. And so I remember that part of the day to day was, every month there was a Drupal meetup community here in Costa Rica. I live in Costa Rica. And I used to go there just to learn from other people. And I remember seeing amazing people, like really CTOs, technical leaders, people with amazing trajectories, just explaining to other people everything they knew. And for me, that was shocking because coming from other places where people are very, close, they don't like to teach what they know. In this community, I was finding amazing people that was able to sit down with me and just explain all the questions that I had about Drupal because I was just, beginning with this framework, with this content management system, which is huge. And I was amazed about that. And that helped me in my career. I remember that people who were not getting paid by Drupal, they were not being sponsored by Drupal. There were just people gathering with their computers and contribute to the Drupal open source project. They closed issues, they made translations. So I remember my first contribution to open source was just making translations of the Drupal core from English to Spanish. And that was the first thing I did. And I actually got in love with the community at that moment. So after I started contributing back to the community, started to growth, and I found that I really loved community involvement. So I started to contribute with just translations, but then I started to contribute with some presentations about what I was doing in Drupal, and then I started to do more advanced things. I started to create products in Drupal. I started to create plugins for Drupal, and that somehow started to help me in my career. And I remember that took me to the DrupalCon in New Orleans. That was like the biggest conference I've been at that moment in my career, just because I was contributing to Drupal, and that helped me strive in the community. So I really never knew about the position of DevRel at the beginning of my career, but I knew that I wanted to contribute back to the products I was using. Drupal was the first thing. Like the first years, I used a lot of Drupal. I grew out my career in Drupal, but then I started to do more front end and just JavaScript focused work. And that's when I started to join the JavaScript community, contribute to the JavaScript community, and pretty much did the same as I did in Drupal. Just contribute, learn more, grow the community, contribute back, create articles, videos, and everything to support the community. And then the same happened with Drupal. That skyrocketed my career. I started to work in amazing companies in Canada, United States, because they knew me from the community, because they knew me from the resources I was creating, from the articles I was doing, from the live streamings, from the events I was just going. Everything for free. I never thought about the money. I actually have never cared about neither getting money out of this or getting people to extol my knowledge. The knowledge is something that people can really steal from you. The knowledge is free, and most of the things that we know can be found on the internet for free. We don't have to, be jealous or care about sharing our stuff. Actually, when you teach somebody else, you are positioning yourself to a higher position. You never have to worry about people stealing your knowledge. There's not such a thing. So, and then I did the same with the Google community. I joined the Google community because I started to work as a software architect, building cloud solutions for big enterprises using Google Cloud. I fall in love with the architecture, with diagramming, cloud solutions, scalability, SRA, the operations, and so many things around the cloud ecosystem. And so I did the same with the cloud community. I joined the Google community, started to contribute back, create articles, videos. But to be honest, I didn't knew that Google had this advocacy program called Developer Expert. So they got in touch with me. I started to work with Google, and they told me about this advocacy program. I joined as a Google Developer Expert. They do have a very amazing but very restrict process to be a Google expert. They made a lot of interviews. They make sure you're actually a contributor, that you have contributed many years with many resources, and you're a respected person, because they give a lot of support to the Google developer experts. And so 2 years ago, I became a Google developer expert and started to just travel around the world teaching people about Google Cloud. But again, all of this was in parallel to my full-time job as a software engineer, as a technical leader, as a technical director. I always had my full-time job in software companies or digital agencies. And in parallel, I used to do my community work all by myself for free. And then I realized about the DevRel position and how I could merge both things that I love, technology building and content creation, video production, and everything that I have learned so far. It merged perfectly and naturally to become a DevRel. So that's when I joined AppSmith. AppSmith, like I said, is an amazing product. They're worldwide. And what I do my day-to-day is pretty much what I was already doing for free to the communities I was contributing. So it was naturally a great change for my career, because I had everything I knew from the beginning of my career as a software developer, because I have to know every little detail about the technical content that I'm going to do. So everything I knew from all my history as a software engineer in cloud computing, etc., I applied to my day-to-day on my videos, and all of the background from being a film school graduate, from knowing how to manage cameras, audio, film production, storytelling. I merged all of that into this position. And to be honest, I'm extremely happy. This is like the, the best time of my life, and I'm doing what I love. Every day I just found out more that this is exactly what I wanted to do in my life, and I'm extremely excited about it. So yeah, that's long story short, my career. Um, I could talk more, but I know we have other topics to cover.
Yeah, wow, this is really an amazing, stats, and I'm happy that you are in a field where you really enjoy what you are doing, and that's really, really amazing. So,
Yeah.
from your experience, do you think that there is a difference between developer advocacy, developer relations, and developer evangelism?
I think that yes. Again, this is just my opinion, but um, developer developer relations or developer advocacy, I think, is very related normally to a product or a company. Not necessarily, but sometimes it's related to a given product, to a given platform, or to a given company you're representing, and you're trying to grow the developer community in that specific area. And we do that throughout multiple things like articles, like events, like videos, like community programs, throughout, having conversations on Discord, etc. For me, that's very different to being an evangelist, because for me, an evangelist is not necessarily tied to a product or a company. It can be tied to, for example, a programming language, not specifically a company who is paying you to do what you're doing to grow the community. So I think that's the main difference. And into all my career and my background in community service, I was in evangelism. I consider myself an evangelist, but I was not representing a company or a product. I was just talking about open source in general. It could be Drupal, it could be WordPress, JavaScript, PHP, um, OpenBSD. At the beginning, I remember I was also doing a lot of Arduino for doing small robotics, and I used to create a lot of content and participate on events for Arduino. I remember the Beagle board, which was like the first thing before Arduino. So I think that's the main difference, or at least that's what I believe. You can become an evangelist about certain things and be called well represented in the community of that specific language, programming language. I know amazing people in the JavaScript community who are, they have the full-time job. They're not getting paid by anyone about creating content or speak about JavaScript, but they are invited to big conference. They are well known in their medium because they are amazing JavaScript developers, and they became evangelists. So I think that's the main difference between a developer relations advocate and an evangelist. Now, also, you can be somehow a DevRel or become yourself a DevRel without being hired as a DevRel. But normally, it is tied to certain company or certain product you are representing, and you have community programs. You're trying to excel your heroes. You're trying to excel your community, but it's normally tied to a company. So I think that would be the main difference from my standpoint.
Wow, that's awesome. To be honest, I really didn't know that there was actually a difference. I just thought that they were like the same thing, just different titles. But thank you very much for clearing that up. All right.
Yeah,
So
I could be mistaken. Don't trust everything I say, but at least that's what I think.
all right. Okay. So since this podcast episode is about storytelling through video, a question I have to ask is, where would you suggest starting out in videos, to tell stories about a product or a technology?
Yes, and we were talking this in the last call we had. Um, I will say that the best recommendation I can give to people is to start. Normally, when people try to embark in their journey as evangelist or DevRel, or they found out that they like this career, they try to start thinking about everything they need to know about how to create the best articles, how to communicate correctly, how to build a community, how to create videos that you need a camera, you need a microphone, and you need lights. And then you will start to realize that probably these gear are very expensive, and you might not have any of that. And my best recommendation is to start. There are multiple people, amazing developer advocates, amazing people creating content who are just using their phones. They just connect their phone, or they just grab their phone and they start making videos about it. At the end, what matters is the story you're telling. That's why it's called storytelling. And most of the people really don't want to be sell. At the end, a DevRel is a mechanism to sell a product, whether we like it or not. But we do it differently. We do it by connecting to developers and the problems they're having, because we know them. Normally, we have a career in development and we understand the pain points from a developer. So that's the reason why it's better to sell to a developer via a developer advocate, because we know their pain points. They can talk technicalities with us. We understand their problems, versus a person who just sells because all they matters is how to sell. That's normally a very executive conversation between maybe a C level and a salesperson. We don't do that. We talk to developers in their day to day. We talk to technical leaders. We understand their problems. They need to ship faster. They need to get things, go to market faster. They need to have less bugs. They need to have less technical debt. And so I will say that the best thing you can do is just start by telling the same stories that are going to connect with the people who are having the same problems as you have. Whether if it is by stacks, people like to understand numbers. I don't know, X amount of people are having this problem. I also was having this problem and I solved it this way. And I found this product to be great because X, Y, and Z. So you have to try to connect to the people to the most visceral way. And the only way you can do that is by creating stories and by basically understanding the why. Because most of the people are there, most of the companies, if you see all of the marketing resources they are creating, all of their campaigns they're creating, is they're talking about how we do stuff, what type of things we do. We are a product that connects to your data sources. We are a product that manages your resources, etc. People know what they do and they know how they do it, but most of the people don't communicate from the why. And the why is the reason why we do things. And getting money from companies is not the why. Normally, you have to have certain reasons why you do this. So normally, I try to connect to developers via their why. And normally, that creates a bigger connection rather than just I'm trying to sell you. I'm trying to tell you this product is better than the competition. Okay, that might be true, but why should I care? There are multiple competitors out there. Why should I care about your product, about your platform? So that's why storytelling is key. And you connect through developers throughout your stories. And normally we have the same pain points. We understand that, program managers or PMs can be very difficult to understand our problems. We understand that normally we're given requirements with very little details and we have to figure out things. And then if we do it wrong, it's going to be our issue. We understand that sometimes the requirements change without knowing. We understand that they're trying just to, give us pizza to do overwork. All of those things are just stories that connect to them because they are having the same problems that we had at some point. And from that standpoint, you can connect to them and try to explain, hey, I know your problems. I've been having the same problems that you have had. Now hear me out. I have some solutions for you that can work out because I solved it this way and I can prove it to you. And that's when they will start to listen because they know our why, because we want to have less problems with our project managers, because we want to have less problems with our C-level telling us, hey, why we haven't shipped this, because we want to have less problems with QA telling us, oh, what are all these bugs that you have? So I think that's the main importance of a developer relationship from a storytelling standpoint. You have to connect with them on a very visceral way.
Awesome. Wow, that was really, really nice. So now, from your experience here, what types of video do you think work best for teaching technical topics or technical concepts?
Yeah, so the thing when you're creating technical content is that it can be boring to people because, again, they can be very technical and they can be very long. So normally the first recommendation I give to people, and something that I try to do on my day-to-day because it happens to me, coming from a technical background, is that I try to cover too much things on a piece of content. I try to cover too much things on a video. And normally when you keep it simple is when things goes better. And then you can elaborate further on certain series. So for example, instead of creating just one video that goes to multiple details, just break it down, go to the simple thing, start with why, and then you can create maybe a series of videos about this topic, elaborating further. But one of the things that I have found that never worked for me, and the videos who have had the worst result, are the videos that are longer and very technical, because you are trying to create content tailored for multiple audiences, junior developers, middle developers, senior developers, and you have to understand in what part of the journey they are at. So normally there is a journey in your product, and people can be in different stages of that journey. So first of all, understanding, all right, this piece of content, this piece of video is going to be for X person in the journey. Somebody who doesn't know about my product, I'm going to create videos about discovery of the product. So normally they don't know anything about the product, and I have to connect with them in a very different language, in a very different format, through the people that are already using my product, and we are trying to bring them from the maybe the free version to a paid version. It's very different the way we communicate to these people. So the first recommendation is understand who you are talking to, and don't try to group them all together. Go very niche, go smaller, go smaller. All right, I'm targeting the people who doesn't know about my product. They were trying to create a discovery type of video, but in that section, you can still be more specific. Okay, in which countries, which languages they talk, which products they currently use, which programming language they are using. So the more you know about the people you're talking, and the smaller the niche is, probably the better results you're gonna get. Don't try to group. I'm just gonna make these people for this video for developers. All right, but what type of developers? Which languages they talk? Which age they are at? It's very different to talk to a developer who is maybe like at my age, around 35 years, to talk to a developer who's 19 years old. They're probably on TikTok, they're mostly on Instagram. They don't want to have a long video format. They need videos who have transitions, and it's very fast paced. So normally what I try to do is create different type of videos, target different social media platforms for different different audiences. If I'm trying to talk to technical leaders, I'm not going to find them on TikTok. I'm probably going to find them on LinkedIn. And the way I talk to them is very different because they have goals to achieve. They have to represent the C-level. They have to represent the stakeholders. It's very different to just a middle developer who's working on an agency, and maybe they're going to find out about our product. So I think that the first recommendation I will give is find the niche your video is about. Be very specific about them, and then you will be able to have the best language, the best conversations, and the best format of the video. It could be a vertical video that is going to be on TikTok, or it could be a horizontal video that's going to go on LinkedIn. And the way you communicate and the way you set up things is going to be very different to each other. And again, keep it very interactive. Don't just talk for more than 3 minutes. That's bad. Break it down into series, create breakdowns between each topic. And at the end of each topic, tell people this is what I just showed you, and this is how it's going to transform your career or your developer journey or your day-to-day as a developer or what have you. Normally, try to explain to them why you are, first of all, explain to them how you're going to transform their life. That's like the hero journey over there. Here is how I'm going to transform your day-to-day by having less programming errors, by having less time to go to market, by connecting to your data sources easily, by whatever mean, this is how you're going to transform your life. And this is 3 topics or 2 topics I'm going to explain how that's going to transform your life. And between each topic, you explain to them, I just showed you this that transformed your life. It delivered what I promised at the beginning of the video. So you have to constantly reinforce the idea. And at the end of the video, people will say, yes, it actually delivered what it promised. So it will be building trust on your worth. And the more content you create and more transformative the people who are watching your video becomes, they will trust you even further. So I think that's really important when building videos. Start now. Don't wait until you have the best camera, the best microphone. Start with why. Connect to them through a visible way via storytelling, breaking down into small pieces, and always start with that limbic opening, something that connect with them. It could be statistics, numbers, problems they're having, etc. Don't just start with today. I'm going to explain to you how to connect, blah, blah, blah. No, there's multiple videos out there that does that. Try to start with a more, a very different connectivity to your audience, always starting with why, making sure you understand their problems and give quick solutions. Don't just spend too much time explaining the reasons or explaining the facts or explaining why this is better. Just go through the details, be quick and hard, and tell them, I just transformed you, what I promised at the beginning, and now continue to trust us, subscribing, using our product, creating a free account, what have you. And people will normally do it because they trust your word. But if at the beginning you create a video, hey, today I'm going to explain to you how I'm going to transform your life, and you're going to become the best developer. And at the end of the video, that didn't happen. They're not going to trust you, and they're not going to watch your content anymore.
Wow, that's an amazing tip. So, someone from the comments, Atraf, said that when he starts his video, he usually starts by mentioning the prerequisites in terms of the skills before moving on to the project. So, from your experience, do you think that this helps improving the viewers' engagements, or do you think that this actually helps him?
I don't think it helps improving the engagement, but it does help giving the context to people because, like I said at the beginning, not every piece of video is for everyone. So when you give prerequisites, they understand, oh, yeah, this is for me because, first of all, I have what they're asking. I have that library installed in my machine. At that level, so normally prerequisites, you're not only going to tell them this is what you need to have installed or this is what you need to have in your machine or what have you, but also you're going to get prerequisites about what they need to learn. And if you want to watch this video, you need to first learn or have knowledge about, I don't know, JavaScript promises. And if they don't know about JavaScript promises, they're going to stop there because they don't know that. And they're probably going to go understand that first. But if you don't tell them the prerequisites and you just start over there, and as soon as you start talking about JavaScript promises, they're going to say, I don't know about this. They're just going to close the video and I'm going to see what you're talking. So I think prerequisites is really important at the beginning of each video because it settles the context of who you're talking to, what they need to have, and what they need to learn. And once people say, yes, this is for me because I have that stall, I have the knowledge they're talking, this video is probably going to be for me, and they're going to stay there. So yeah, that's a great recommendation. Always put prerequisites at the beginning of your video, so people understand that yes, this is actually for them.
Awesome. So, Atraf, I hope you have an answer, and please don't stop putting prerequisites in your videos.
Yes.
So, yeah, I have another question. So, for people just getting started, like for example, me, that's just getting started in terms of video creation, video content, and I know that you made mention of not waiting for the best camera, the best lighting, the best tool or equipment. So, from your experience, what are like the basic tools or software that you would recommend for people that are just getting started to use or invest in?
I will say the first thing is invest on audio. Your camera, the quality of your camera is relevant if your audio is not good. And unfortunately, since I had the power outage and I'm being able to use my external microphone and have like the best quality of audio that I normally have, but the first thing you should invest is in a good microphone. They're not super expensive. They're USB microphones in Amazon that can be very good quality. But if you're just using your computer audio, probably there's going to be a lot of noise coming to the audio. You're not going to understand every little word, and it's kind of hard to connect with people with not good audio. So my recommendation would be, instead of thinking about cameras or lights or what have you, buy a microphone and make sure to record your audio separately. There are free software in your computer. If you're on Mac, you have GarageBand. For Windows, there are multiple free software that are going to record your audio on a better level. And then you are able to normalize the levels. Maybe you're speaking too loud and sometimes speaking too low. You can normalize the audio by just 2 clicks. Right click, normalize audio, and the software will do the stuff for you. For me, audio is key because if you want to communicate to people, you have to have the best tools to communicate with them. And voice and audio and being able to communicate the best way, your message is through audio. So it's funny that I'm talking about videos. And I'm not talking about the best thing to have first is your camera. No, it's audio. Audio is really important. So once you have that piece figured out, then you can start building your videos. Software, I will say start with anything you have. If you are going to be using your phone and CapCut, which is a free application for your phone, start with what? For that. It's good enough. You're going to be able to bring your clips, cut them in the pieces you want. You can have transitions between them. You can have sounds in the transitions, and it's free and it's easy to use. Now, if you're looking for something a bit more professional that is going to help you to deliver better results and is still free, you can use DaVinci Resolve, which is the software that I normally use in my day-to-day and I recommend. And if you believe that you don't understand how to use them, every week I put videos on my channel about how to create videos for developer relations, for content creators using DaVinci Resolve. I have videos starting from zero for people who doesn't know anything, and every week I'm posting small videos about how to sync your audio and your camera, how to put subtitles on your videos very easily, how to export your videos for social media, for YouTube, for different formats. Every day I'm just putting in my channel content on how to use DaVinci Resolve to create better video. And in every video I'm also talking about how can you engage more with your audience, how you can have transitions and text, maybe logos behind you, or how to put a screen and you talking, how to showcase better your story, because it's not only about telling a story, it's about using the tools to be more creative on telling your story. Sometimes you can just grab your pen and a piece of paper and write something, show it to the people, grab another piece of paper, write something, show it to the people, and that can be just by that more interesting for your audience than you just talking. So long story short, I would say start with audio. Try to understand the things that you are telling to your audience and how you can be better. There are multiple free videos in YouTube on how to communicate better, how to have a better voice that is better heard, how to have better pronunciation of the words you're telling. And that's something I'm improving myself every day. Every video that I do or every podcast that I do, I re-listen and I say these things I shouldn't say, these things were not correctly explained, and I try to be better every day. Or normally I have things that I repeat on a lot of videos. I've found that I repeat a lot exactly, or for example, or those little words I try to maybe find other words that can be used, like for instance, instead of use for example every time. So those little thing matters, because if the message you're telling is going to be reaching the people depending on the quality of your communication skills. So you can have the best video with the best transitions and the best camera quality, 8K, HDR. If you're not telling the story correctly, if you're not talking to your audience in the way they need to be uh, told, probably they're just going to skip the video. It was a nice video, but if the audio is not good and the message you're telling is not being correctly explained, probably they're just going to skip. Once you have that figured out, yes, you can maybe start thinking about different formats, about having maybe an external camera and record in a better format, not just MP4, maybe recording ProRes or recording other formats that are going to give you better quality to work with. But nowadays, like the message that I'm seeing from Amitesh, is true. The iPhone quality or most of the Android phones out there nowadays, they all record 4K, they all record in good quality. So yes, maybe even just get an external microphone and your iPhone, or an external microphone and your Android phone, and you're gonna get great results. Actually, a lot of the videos that I have on my channel are recorded with the iPhone, and the quality of that video it's going to be hard to notice compared to my cinema camera, unless I put that maybe on a bigger screen. Yeah, we might see maybe some changes there, but normally you're not going to be creating content for cinema or for being watched on different larger formats. Normally it's just going to be on YouTube, and it's kind of hard to tell the difference between a phone recorded good video or a cinema camera. So that's my recommendation. Don't try to spend too much money on gear. Try to spend that money on better communication skills, on better audio quality, and you will see that's going to help people staying on your videos and understand also your voice. Try to understand the best portion of your voice that understands people, that connects with people. Normally, don't talk too high, don't talk here. This is your tongue here. Try to lower it and talk from your belly. And if you have a good microphone and you try to understand how to better use your voice, you're going to see how powerful your voice can be on a video. Depending the same video, the same content, but you have a different voice tone, pitch. That's going to be a different message over there. So that's my recommendation. In terms of people who are looking to start, just start. Again, that's my recommendation. Just start. You don't have, if you're already watching this video, is because you have a computer or a telephone. That's it. You have what it needs to be done.
Oh yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, that's true. I mean, you just need to start. I feel like there's something that Francesco said in one of his lives. He was like that once you publish your first video, it's like gives you the push or gives you the zeal to keep pushing. That the hardest thing for people getting started in video content is publishing that very first video. So once you push that, trust me, you will just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So we have a
Yes.
question from the comments from Trust. He asked, for content diversification, would you recommend converting articles to videos or videos to articles?
I recommend both. Normally, for every piece of video, I try to have an article that supports it and drives people from the video to the article. And normally, I try to have an article that talks about the topic and drive people to the video. Um, and that's also an important conversation that we can have maybe in another topic. But SEO and funnels are very important for your videos, because by just recording your video, exporting your video, uploading your video doesn't mean that it's going to get to the right people. Part of my day-to-day as DevRel is not just creating the content, it's understanding the delivery, it's understanding the communities where this video should get, it's understanding how I'm going to get the people who should be seeing this video to actually see it. And it's not just uploading the video and magically developers will appear on my video. No, you have to think about the distribution. And that's a big portion of their day-to-day, understanding metrics and how to reach the people. Are we reaching the right people? I mean, a video could have 100 views, but are those 100 views from people who need to watch this video? So I will say that yes, normally try to create big funnels. A funnel is like a big piece of material that is, maybe let's say it's like a filter. It's going to grab everything we can and funnel it into my content. And from that funnel, probably a lot of the people I grab from that funnel are not going to care about their product because they don't need it. That's fine. So normally I try to create an article that is using the top of the funnel conversation that is very wide. For example, let me give you an example. AppSmith is a platform that connects to multiple data sources. One of them is MySQL. So I can create an article that is top of the funnel that's called the best UI for MySQL databases. And probably the target of that article is maybe people who are trying to find a visual tool to connect to their MySQL databases. That might not be my target ICP, my ideal customer. But when I have a big funnel like that, which is an article that is not focused on AppSmith at all, it's just having the best UI for your or UI for your MySQL database. And I do the same for Postgres, and I do the same for SQL Server, and I do the same for all of the services out there people are using. That's my big funnel. And then I drive them to explore AppSmith. And probably a lot of them are going to not join the funnel because they don't care about AppSmith. They're just looking for a UI for the database. But some of them might find out about AppSmith, and they do. From that top of the funnel article that drives them to the video. And in the video, I try to transform that very quickly, explaining why, going back to my topics at the beginning, connecting to the problems, telling why, etc. So normally I do have an article that supports my video and backwards. When I create a video, there's normally an article that supports that video, and normally I embed the video at the beginning or at the end of the article, depending what I'm trying to achieve. So I will say yes. Try to get the squeeze your content. What I mean by squeezing my content is get the best out of your video. If you made a video, repurpose it in short format for Reels, for YouTube Shorts. Use AI to have better subtitles, like those ones that pop up and appear on the screen. There are multiple tools that does that for you right now, and that's the way you, by just recording one single video, you can squeeze the most out of that. Create 2 or 3 articles about the topics you were covering or your videos. If your video covered 3 topics, you have content to create 3 different articles, top of funnel that drives people to your video. So normally delivery and how people get to your content, it's sometimes even more important than the content itself. You can have an amazing, beautiful, well-crafted video that have great communications. You're talking the best, you have the best video, and nobody's going to watch it because unfortunately this works by an algorithm. And if the algorithm doesn't know you, probably your content is going to go to the right people. So you have to find the mechanisms, the mediums to deliver your content, the audiences, the communities, the social platforms, the SEO, etc. So yes, that was a great question, and my recommendation is for every video there should be an article. For every article there should be a video.
Wow. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I also have a small tip to share. So I recently had a coffee chat with Daniel Craney, and he said that what he does, like the tip that he does and that he would advise me to do is ensure that your article has a video. Like, create a video that wraps around your article or an article that wraps around your video. That will really help you in terms of driving traffic to either your blog or to your YouTube channel or wherever the video is hosted on.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's definitely very important when creating content, video content.
Yeah. So I know that you made mention of recording your video and audio separately, and I'm a bit confused on how that would do. Like, do you mean that the audio should be recorded after you've made the video, or
No, so normally what I do is, so let's say I'm going to start a video right now. So I have my microphone here and my camera is over there. So I have in my camera, I have my SD, or in my case, I use an SSD, which is bigger. And my camera is going to record the video and obviously the audio output from the camera. Now, I could connect my microphone to the camera and get the audio recorded from the camera. But unless it's in a big cinema camera, I mean, not even a big cinema camera, not even cinema, most of the cameras out there are not going to have raw uncompressed audio because they're cameras. They're meant to be used for shooting video, not for be recording audio. So normally if you see most of the productions out there, you see the sound guy like holding the boom microphone and he has normally something hanging on. That's normally where the audio is being recorded. So when I hit record on my camera and it's going to start talking, I have GarageBand open on my computer, recording what I'm telling on the microphone. So when I'm talking to my camera, explaining what I'm going to be talking, audio is recorded on my camera separately from the video on that's been recorded on the camera. So yes, the video on my camera is going to have audio, but once you have both audio, you will see what I'm talking about. First of all, the waveform and the amount of information you have on your recorded uncompressed audio is larger from the camera, because never the audio from the camera is going to be that good, or your phone. So just by that, you can have better audio quality, even if you're recording with the same microphone. If I have this microphone connected to my camera, the audio is going to be different. The audio quality is going to be different than actually recording with an audio processing software. And now there are like Tascams, who records the audio. It's a piece of hardware that actually records the audio, like or a mixer. That's even better, but that's expensive. by just having your microphone connected to a audio software recording, that's probably going to be better than just the audio straight from the camera. So what I normally do in my software editing workflow is I bring the audio and the video from the camera, and by just having 2 clicks, I can match them. So the software will see the audio from just my audio recorded on the microphone and the audio from the camera, and it's going to match those two. And then I just use the audio that I got from the camera. Now, there might be other topics more advanced on how to use the equalizer to get better quality sound. Like, I don't know if you have heard episodes from podcasts or from videos that the sound is so crisp, like it looks like you're talking to the person, like actually in real life. And it's because the quality of the audio is so good that you can actually feel the voice coming from that person. And that's probably the reason why, is because they use an external recording hardware and software to process that audio. So that's my recommendation I normally give. If you get yourself a microphone, don't just plug in and record it to your camera straight. Use an external mechanism to record your audio, and there are multiple ways to match your audio and your video. But no, I don't record separately. I mean, at the same time I'm recording, I'm doing both things, the audio and the camera.
Awesome. At least I'm happy that I finally understand what you mean by recording the audio and video. So now, we know that as DevRels, we our target audience are developers, and some of us, especially people that are just getting started in video content, would be interested in live coding session. So, do you have any advice or any tips, to make live coding more dynamic, more exciting, and not like rigid stuff that is just the person and the computer?
Yes, that's a good question. We do live coding in AppSmith like every Friday. My fellow developer advocate at AppSmith, he does a lot of live coding. And things that we have noticed is when we started doing live coding, and we have learned from different live codings we have done, is again going back to understanding who that live coding is going to be for. The first thing we try to do is, whenever we are doing the marketing for that live coding, is you have to tell them who this is for. It's beginners, it's people who are using AppSmith already, it's people who should have a database already. Going back to the prerequisites question, that's good to give people the context about what's going to happen in the live coding session. Second thing I will say that is really good is showcase the result at the beginning. Before you start doing any live coding, showcase the end result so people will stick around. If you tell them today we're going to see how to build a dashboard with graphs using, I don't know, Firebase as an example. Here's the example, here's the end result, and you have to show them how cool the final result is so they stick around. And then again, going back to the same recommendation, break it down into pieces. Don't just start live coding, figure it out things in front of them. Have an actual topic list. Okay, first thing we're going to do is create a Firebase project and create our database. Second thing is we're going to create an API key or an API secret to connect to Firebase. Third thing we're going to do is create an AppSmith application. And to do that, you should have a Google account. When you're telling the topics, you're telling what prerequisites they need to have and what they're going to do. And once you achieve each of the topics, take a small break and tell them, hey, we just achieved this. Now we go to the next topic. So it's pretty much the same recommendations through videos, but in this case, live coding can be boring sometimes for the audience. So you have to find mechanisms or ways to engage with them. Also, storytelling. Like when I'm doing live coding, I'm not just live coding. When I'm doing things like, for example, maybe I'm creating my Firebase project, and maybe it takes like 2 seconds to set up. Sorry, 2 minutes to be finalized the project because Firebase have to set up the database, etc. That's going to take like a minute. During that minute, I don't just stay there. I tell them a story. I remember I was working on X company and I had to do this Firebase project, and I remember X, Y, and Z. And you tell them a story to keep them engaged. And probably for your own stories from your own life, people will be interested about that. So I think those little changes can help. I just a live coding that you start your live coding. Hey, today we're going to do live coding. We're going to do programming. I don't know what's going to happen, but no, 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 no. Stop there. Say, hey, this is the end result. This is how you will be able to transformate, sorry, your career. This is the end result. And people will say, oh, that's cool. That's what I want to do. I want to do exactly what he just did. All right, we just going to do it right now. And here's the breakdown of topics. This is what you need to have to abort this video. And now that you know that, let's kick in. Now you start doing the live coding, small pieces, tell them we just did this, we just achieved this. Congratulations, we just achieved these topics. Now let's go to the next one. You finished it, congratulations, we just did another topic. Now get yourself some water or a coffee because you deserve it, and let's go to the next topic. Ba, 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 ba. You finished this topic, congratulations. Now we're getting closer to the end. Get yourself another piece of water, a drink of water or coffee, and jump to the next one. Those things are going to help people, even if they rewatched it and it's not live, maybe they watched it later. It's the same. It's going to help them to digest your content easily than just you struggling to figure out how to connect Firebase to your app.
Yeah, well, that was really awesome. I think I have more questions. Okay, so what are some metrics that you think that are relevant in evaluating a developer focused video content?
Yeah, I mean, that's that's a big topic. Most of the DevRels are struggling to understand what should we measure or how we should understand success. I think that measuring it's the easy part. You're able to understand how many people watch your videos, how long they stayed on the video, from which countries, which age. You get to know a lot from the people who watches your content or reads your article. You can, if you're, you have your own blog or your company has a blog, there are multiple ways to gather information about who is watching, how long they watched it, from where they watched it. So I think that gathering the metrics is the easy part. And if you're not gathering the metrics, that's the first thing you should do. You cannot improve what you cannot or you're not measuring. So the first thing you need to do is measure your content and understand your audience. Um, and that takes a lot of time. It's not just saying, yes, I'm measuring and I know who my people is. No, like you have to go deeper. For how much time they watched your video. If it is a 5-minute video and they just watched it an average of 1 minute and a half, why? Why didn't they stick around? Those are the questions you should be having. A lot of whys. Why is this happening? Why is my audience from these countries? Why is my audience just watching 1 minute or my 5-minute videos? So I will say that before understanding success, you have to measure. Once you're there, once you're measuring, then you have to understand what success means to you or your company of DevRel. For us at DevRel in AppSmith can be very different going back to the developer journey. Let me give you an example. When we are in the discovery phase or creating content for the discovery, so normally we have 5 phases. The first one is discovery. People who doesn't know about us are figuring out who the product, what the product is and why is good for them. How can they solve the problem and how is this credible? That's the first thing you're trying to answer them. Why should they believe me, what I'm telling them? Then we have the second stage, which is evaluation. Will this platform meet my needs? Maybe their competition is better. Does it look easy to use? Are there any red flags? Is pricing a barrier? Is it too expensive for my company? So that's the evaluation process, and you have to answer those questions. Then you have the learn. Once they say, yes, this product looks cool, I'm going to give it a try, you have to give them a lot of resources to learn the product. The first hello world, your documentation to give them the best experience, how they gain confidence on the product. Is there a community where they can answer their questions? That's the learn. That's the third section of the journey. Then you have the build, which is when once they discovered it, evaluated, learned it, now they're starting to build their first MVP. Is the developer experience good? Is there any support? Is it valuable for the money I'm investing? Those are probably going to be the questions they have, and you have to give them resources to answer those questions. And then the final stage is scale. Once they learned it and build it, you have to scale them, because if they build their first application or their first whatever tool you're trying to teach people, but they don't have a growth path, they're just going to go somewhere else. So depending on the section of the journey I'm creating that piece of video, success can be very different. In this in the discover section, for example, how many signups we got from this video, that's a good metric. But how do I um, have a success metric for scale? How, people who already have an account, how do I make sure they stay with AppSmith? For example, in my particular case, that's kind of hard to measure because there is no metric that can tell me this user stayed with you because they found your content valuable. It's kind of hard to understand that. Maybe by having a conversation with your customers, asking why they're staying with you, that can be helpful. But we cannot just tie success to the amount of signups. Yes, depending on the stage of that user, but not for every user. So it's really important that when you have your metrics, which is the first stage, now you know everything about your users, then you have to understand how success looks like at the stage of this content that I made. Because you might be making a video for a user that is evaluating AppSmith and they already have an account. So what success look like for me? Success looks like when they connect their data sources. But how do I know that? Because I talk to the product team, I talk to the marketing team, I talk to the C-level team. DevRel is not in a standalone position. You have to have good communication skills to talk to other people and understand what success look like, and let them know, hey, for each stage of our product, we have to understand what success look like, because you cannot just tell we are doing good if we have more subscribers. We're not YouTubers. We're developer relations advocate. And how do I measure success at the different stages is really important to understand. So ask those questions first. What success look like at the stage of the developer journey? And then you will be able to, by using the metrics you have, answer that question. And if you don't have a way to measure it, then you have to figure it out. How do I measure it? So at AppSmith, we do have a lot of way to measure that. So for example, after a user created an account, we are able to see if they connected a data source, because the true power of AppSmith is when they connect their databases, because AppSmith is a front visual tool. If they don't connect their databases, they're not going to see the true power. So that's the section of or the stage of evaluation. So we have to create content on how to connect AppSmith with MySQL, with SQL Server, with Postgres database, with what have you, and give them the tools they need to evaluate. And once they evaluated AppSmith, they connected the data source. Now is the next stage, how they learn to build their first MVP, how they can build their custom widgets. So again, it's not just measuring, it's understanding what success looks like in the developer journey roadmap. And that's a topic I've had with my superiors in AppSmith. It's like, yeah, no, I get it. It's cool to see our subscribers numbers going up, but that's not the only metric that means success to us. A success to us can be that a user didn't go to the competition because they found the exact video they were looking for to solve their problem within our platform. How could you measure that? How could you measure that a user didn't go to the competition because they found a video of you? That's really hard to measure. And there's a lot of value there, because it's more expensive to get a new customer than keeping an existing customer. So holding your customers by DevRel is a great success metric, but how do you measure that? You have to find the mechanisms to measure success. So long story short, measure everything that you can, and then define what success looks like in the developer journey. It's not just like, oh yeah, from this video you have 100 views. That's cool, but what happened? Was there any transformation there? People click sign up for your product, or people did what you're expecting them to do? If that's not the case, then just understanding how much subscribers or how many watch hours you had is not going to give you like a response if you're being successful. And this is a big topic. Like we could talk hours about measuring success and how to collaborate with your product team and your marketing team and your QA team and your support team. Like one of the examples I can give you is when we have a lot of people contacting support for a specific issue, they reach out to us and say, "Hey guys, we're getting a lot of customer support topics about, I don't know, OAuth 2.0 that happened at some point. They're struggling to connect to their authentication services. Let's create a series of videos about OAuth 2.0." So the DevRel team, we started to plan. We created a whole journey about how to use AppSmith to authenticate to Salesforce, to Firebase, to X, Y, and Z. We give them tools to connect to OAuth 2.0 because they were struggling with that. And they reduced the amount of people contacting them about that thing. That's success over there. Now, we didn't sign new contracts, but the people who are staying with us now are not having problems with OAuth 2.0 because we have all of these resources for them to understand how to achieve that. So, I mean, that's a whole different conversation there. We can talk hours about this, but I just throw you my best recommendation over there.
Awesome, awesome. That's like amazing. And it seems that we've actually passed our time limit, our time frame. I mean, you have so much knowledge that it feels like I shouldn't end this stream right now. Right. So as we are coming closer to the end, looking back on your journey, your experience, what are some common things that you wished someone had warned you about before starting, especially in terms of video content and DevRel?
Uh, so about DevRel, that is an amazing job. I wish I knew this earlier in my career, but I think everything happens at the right moment when you are prepared. So instead of just thinking about, I mean, if you're watching this and you're not a DevRel yet, or you're not working for a company and getting paid to be a DevRel, is you don't need to be paid to be a DevRel. You can be an evangelist and a DevRel without having to be paid. You can start creating videos about the technologies you use in your day to day and become advocates of that technology. And that's what I did in my career. Like I said, I was never being paid about Drupal or Google or JavaScript to talk about that. It's just because I love those products. And I started to create content about that. And I met amazing people. It took me to give conferences at different countries, and it still does. Next month, I'm going to be in Vancouver. The following month, I'm going to be in San Francisco. The following month, I'm going to be in New York. All of that just because I start doing things by my own without somebody telling me, hey, you have to do this. So first thing is find your passion, find the things you like, and just talk about that. The second thing is about video is maybe again I focus too much on the gear at the beginning instead of focusing on being a good communicator. So I could invest less, or at the beginning I could invest my money instead of investing on a cinema camera. I could have invested on a normal camera and pay a course or a training about how to use my voice to leverage my message. Um, and that's something you will see. A lot of people will tell you you need this camera, and you will find I love cinema, and I've seen cameras that cost like a house or like a car. I would love to have that, but I'm not going to spend my money on that. You can even rent. You can rent a gear, and it's cheaper than just buying gear. Invest on what's going to transform your career, and normally that's a good communication skills. Pay trainings on how to build amazing demos. Fortunately for me, my company paid an amazing training for us called Demo to Win, and I learned so much there. about how to build transformative demos, how to break down your demos and your videos, how to create limbic openings, how to X, Y, and Z. Like that was a big transformation for me. And I will say I should have paid this by myself prior to just buying gear because I knew about that training, but I said, nah, I'm gonna buy a new camera. No, invest first on the your career of being a better communicator before buying cool gear. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Find your passion, invest on your communication skills, connect with people. At the end, this is just connecting to people. 100% of the videos you're making is for people, so connect with them, ask them to reach out to you. I've had amazing conversations and I've met amazing people just because they reached out to me and say, hey Kevin, I watched your video, it was cool, but I have other questions, can you explain this to me? And one people will say, hey, no, pay for it, or I'm going to give you a consultancy. No, no, no. I tell them, yeah, sure, let's go to a Zoom. I explain everything to you. I have no problem about that. Content is free. The knowledge is free. But when you build connections, that's something that nobody can buy. You cannot buy connections with your credit card. You can buy gear, you can buy audio, you can buy lights, but you cannot buy connections with people. And normally those connections are what's going to lift you. So that's my recommendation there.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. This has been an amazing episode. I mean, I've got to learn how to record your video and audio separately, and I've got to learn tips on, if I ever want to have a live coding session, and so many other amazing things. So, what is something that we should expect from you in the next coming 2-3 months? A course, a book, a video guide? Let us know.
Yeah, I will tell you, subscribe to my channel. I know that a lot of people say that, but actually do it and share it. If you think that today you learned something from me, share my YouTube channel on your social media and help a fellow DevRel who's trying to teach other DevRels to be better. Because that's what's coming every week. There's a new video. This week, actually, we had two videos, and next week is going to have one video. For next week, I'm going to be teaching how to use Hollywood strategics and Hollywood script writing techniques in your DevRel videos. So I'm going to give you some examples. I'm going to grab from movies and put it down to actual words in the DevRel area. So how can you use mechanisms that or Hollywood techniques that script writers use on one of the most famous movies that you have seen? We're going to digest those movies, the strategies they use, and how you can leverage that in your own videos. That's going to be a cool topic over there. And then I have tips and tricks every week, how to do X, Y, and Z on DaVinci Resolve. So if you follow me, you're probably going to learn storytelling techniques, cinematography techniques, DaVinci Resolve, but all tailored for DevRel. That is not just for anybody out there. My niche is DevRels. I want DevRels to understand the true power of video. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. And I proposed some sessions for the DevRel Con, which is going to happen in New York City in July. Hopefully they will approve it. And it's around some of these topics, and we're going to elaborate even further on some of the things that I do on my day-to-day to achieve transformation throughout video. But if not, I still invite everyone to see the DevRel Con. If you are around the New York area or you're capable of going, there's a lot of great people in the DevRel market who's going to be on that event, and you'll probably learn a lot. So if you're capable of participating on that event, I'm not being sponsored by any case, but that event, but I think it's going to be a huge event. Normally, the DevRel cons, they have amazing people who are top quality in this area, and being able, that's also another thing I will tell you, invest on conferences, invest on building community. Normally, well, you will see the price of the event, you will see that's kind of expensive. But if you compare to, for example, a microphone or a camera, it's cheaper than that. And the connections and the knowledge you will get from a conference, it's completely out of this world. I mean, I remember the connections I made from the first DrupalCon I went when I was back then working on Drupal. and that took my career to another level. I started to talk to other people. I started to work with companies from all over the world just because I went to that conference. So investing and participating in conferences is good, and once you're there, start talking to people. I've lost my shame. I'm a shameless person. Once I get to a conference, I start talking to people. I'm not gonna be scared about it. Oh, I know this guy. I'm gonna go there, talk to him, ask for a picture, reshare on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and then I do the same with others. Do you want to have a drink? Let's go for a coffee and let's talk about what you're doing. Build connections. Take advantage of the investments you have done. So yeah, that will be it. Subscribe to my channel, watch my blog kevinblanco.dev, and if you have questions or comments, don't be ashamed. I mean, reach out on LinkedIn, follow me on Twitter as well, and send me a message. I mean, Sophia can say the same. She reached out to me. I told her, yeah, let's do this, and if she asks me anything else in the future, I'll definitely help her, and I can also help you. So yeah, reach out, don't be afraid.
Awesome, amazing. Thank you, thank you. And if you are probably re-watching this, all his information are in the description, his Twitter. I will be adding his LinkedIn, his profile, and his YouTube page. And I'm very sure that once you subscribe to his YouTube page, you would have to install DaVinci Resolve like I did. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for this episode. And I hope, we can do this some other time in the future again.
Yeah, no, and sorry about what happened in the beginning. I mean, but that things happen,
That's
um,
fine.
you're not prepared to a power outage at the same moment you're starting a live stream. It never happened to me, but there's always a first time for this type of things.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So we would be ending the stream now. But before we go, please on Beacamp, we are a platform where you can learn more about DevRel, DevMa, and we have an upcoming certification program for anyone that is interested in the developer marketing aspects of tech. You can find us on becam.com, and we currently have courses on technical presentation, technical writing, and some other things relating to developer relations and developer marketing. So do well to check us out. Do well to if this field interests you. Do well to take the upcoming program, and see you next time. So in 2 3 weeks, on the 10th of April, we would be having the third episode of DevMad Dots, where we will be talking to Santos Yadav about community building. So if community building or community engagement is something that really, really interests you, or you want to learn more about it, or you have a couple of questions for him, do well to join on that day. And you can also follow us on Twitter, where we'll also be promoting the event as well. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.